this video, we're going to talk about the difference between a stave drum and a segmented drum. Stave drums is going to be the most cleanest, purest tones because of the direction of which way the wood's going. Is going vertical instead of horizontal. And when you get wood and go in a different direction, it vibrates at different frequencies and different rates. Typically, a stave drum is going to vibrate more on the lower side. It's less glue affecting, more actual clear notes. Making it very easily to be able to tune because the notes kind of move out the way faster. It's kind of easy to settle. It's great for studio kits. Very consistent in sound. To me, they have a better low end response and sustain. It's a cleaner look, no seams, and it's a look like none other. But they do have some cons. The cons are going to be sometimes they can be a little heavier. They're a little more weighted to it. The edges are a little harder to cut into because you're cutting against the grain instead of with it now. They're fragile. The workability is definitely a little harder sometimes. Not as bright as like a plied and segmented drum. Another thing too, it kind of looks like a plied drum to the untrained eye. And it needs to keep on a more climate controlled environment. Area needs to be a little more stable because wood drums like this, when you're going with the direction of the grain, it can come and change with changes in humidity. Especially if you go to Georgia and then you go to Colorado, wood's gonna do different things because wood's always like a sponge. It's always gonna soak up different elements and it's gonna make different things go different ways. Segmented drums. Some of the pros and cons with segmented drums. Some of the pros, I feel like segmented drums definitely resonate at a higher vibration rate than stave. They can be very thin. They can result in a more explosive kind of sound, especially like a real bright, a lot of clear sounding notes here. They're harder to damage. They're harder to break. The edges are cleaner and it's easy to sharpen it when you're going with the grain instead of against it. So a very sharp edge, definitely on a segmented drum. It's very consistent. To dry and different climate can change areas because of the way that the grains are going. But some of the cons on these things is, they can say that it doesn't look as good. It don't look like flooring. Sometimes more expensive than stave drums. They're harder to mill. You're gluing end grain together. The end grain is definitely harder there's not a lot of appreciation of this shell construction. It's harder to fix if a drum gets broke. Cutting small blocks with your hand can be very, very dangerous and your angle has to be very, very precise. It's harder to match up grain patterns. Hopefully this video showed you some of the characteristics between stave style construction and segmented style construction. Thank you so much for watching.